Welcome back to another episode on the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Chen. All right, Healthy Wisdomers, today we're going to be focusing on the last piece that completes the mission, vision, and values puzzle. And we are going to be talking about core values. Now, let's first define what we mean by core values so that we can help you better establish what the word core value would be in your list. Now, core values are like fundamental beliefs of a person or an organization. And so therefore, they're kind of like guiding principles by which it can help us make better decisions and also dictate our actions and hopefully help us understand the difference between right and wrong. So in other words, by upholding your core values, you can better determine the path by which you're going to be heading towards and hopefully ensure that the actions that you are about to take are going to be in alignment with these core values. So, how do we apply this to our lives? Well, in life, say you're having a conversation with your girlfriend or boyfriend or, a good friend of yours, and you're talking about, why they fell in love with their other halves. In essence, most people will allude to something about sharing the same values. And so what they're talking about in that sort of context is they're talking about the internal beliefs. So these internal beliefs are those that kind of dictate how life should be lived, right? And so if two people share the same core values and they see the world by which they're going to operate from and how they're going to live their lives together, and if those values are fairly similar and they're in alignment, then that adds to the congruence of that relationship, right? So whether you are aware or not, we all have a set of core values from which we base our decisions on, big or small. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to touch base on that. Now, what I'd like to start with is to give you sort of like an idea. I've decided, perhaps it'd be easier if I just shared a list of my core values, and let you use that as a reference while you ponder about your list and help you formulate, a list of your own, right? By being able to writing it down, and not just kind of like sort of, haphazardly having a set of core values that aren't necessarily, concrete, right? I would like to encourage you to now, take a minute to go and grab your journal, by which, we take all our notes there and we do all our brainstorming and thinking, and share our ideas on. Go and grab your journal and come on back. As we go through the list, you can add to it and you can also write some of your own, in order for you to actually have a concrete list that, you can actually refer back to and kind of ponder and think about whether, it's still the case. Say like, your core values at different stages of your lives may actually vary a little bit. What you considered, a core value when you were in your 20s may not be the same as in your 30s or your 40s, or say, if you were a student versus, when you became a professional, versus when you became a grandparent and you're retired, right? Those core values may actually change over time, and that's okay. But, to have like a starting list of fundamental beliefs that you believe are actually part of your core being and how you operate in your day-to-day life, that's super, super valuable. And I actually think it's quite important because when we are in alignment and we actually, act upon things or make decisions based on things that we believe are very important to us and we believe that are true and right, that type of, sort of alignment and congruence will really add to our happiness levels, how we feel secure about, what it is that we're doing in this life that we have. So one of the first things that I have on my list is I believe that family is of absolute fundamental importance. Honesty is the best policy. Health is the most important part of your life. All else follows. And in other words, I wrote it in quotations, your health is your wealth. Because as you know, my story, at one point in time, really, I did not have my health. And when I was, working through that crisis, that health crisis that I had, I really couldn't do anything else. I mean, I was young. I was in my teens, but without my health, I really couldn't do anything with my life. And, this is one of those really core lessons that I learned early on in life. And I absolutely refer back to this over and over again, time and time again. It's a timeless one. The next one I have on my list is always give 120% to everything that you choose to do. And I say that to myself all the time, am I giving 120% to this project, to this career, to this study, to this, like anything that I do? Am I giving 100% to my family? Am I giving 100%, 20% of my attention to my children? Am I giving 120% to my patients? So there is also, this is also like, I guess you could probably tell I'm very, very passionate about this one as well. And, I guess it kind of ties into my belief that, continuous growth and lifelong learning is an essential part of our human lives. Don't take things personally. That was one that actually became a very, very good fundamental belief for me to add to the list. This one, I practically added just very recently, about 3.5 years ago. I didn't realize that, in a lot of our different situations, a lot of us will tend to take things personally. And it takes a lot of work to recognize that. But when you do and you recognize that and you make the effort to not take things personally, you'll see that, your interaction with other people will change. How you perceive a situation or a difficult challenge will also change. And if anything, I have definitely found it to have been very beneficial. Once you kind of remove that sort of, hurt feelings, from the situation, what then you tend to do is take the emotion out of that and only focus on, if there's a difficult situation, you're going to focus on actually what is happening and not necessarily, how it affects you emotionally and mentally. So in essence, this is one of those really, really, important ones that I've, added to my core values list. And, I find it to be very, very helpful in, especially dealing with different types of people. And last but not least, to take full responsibility of my life. That actually is one of the core teachings of a lot of mentors, that I have learned from. And it's so true. Taking full responsibility of your life means no excuses. Yes, life might be tough, but what you do with the challenges that you're given says a lot about who you are in essence as a person. And so that is one of those things that I find, if I can pass on something of value, this would be one of those core principles that I would pass on to my children, because I want them to have a good life. And so this list I feel is fairly comprehensive in the sense that they focus on all the values that I find guide me in how I operate in my life. And I certainly hope to pass these positive core values down to my children and also to everybody that I take care of. So that's absolutely one of those things that I feel is pretty amazing. So I'd like you to take 10 to 15 minutes, to kind of ponder, brainstorm, write whatever comes to your mind. I want you to, sort of begin the process of forming your own list of core values if you haven't had a chance to do this before. And if you need to, rewind this episode, listen to it again as you refine your list. And you can do this several times. This is one of those episodes where you could kind of, go back and, sort of refine, go back and refresh and just, kind of keep making revisions to that list of your core values until, you get to a fairly concise list that you feel, this is actually a fairly good, list of core values that you can work from. And my hope for you is that at the end, you can develop a clear sense of what your values are so you can live a life that's purposeful and extremely rewarding. All right, Healthy Wisdomers, it has been a pleasure to share another wonderful episode with you guys. Please take a minute to subscribe, rate this episode, and also, let's just invite more people to come and join us on this journey. This is the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Chen. We'll catch you guys next week.